Welcome everybody, this is John Cena, and you're at the Gump Report. Like, subscribe, enjoy it. Make sure the Gump Report is seen by everybody. Word life. At least this time I got it right. And some reason autofocus is going all over the place. Hang on a minute. Maybe now it's going to behave itself. Welcome to the Gump Report, episode 14. If you haven't seen Alexa Bliss episode on her push and how the Bray Wyatt is, take a look at that. Well, by the time this is done and up, it'll be maybe Monday or Tuesday, and you will see that today because this is being filmed on a Saturday. I really hope you guys are having a good day and have a good night. And this is Gump Report. You never know what you're going to get, and this is about the releases from WWE. 9 people have been released, but I'm going to talk about 4 people here, not the rest. I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking about 4. I got to say this. I wasn't surprised they were going to release people. Right now, let's put this in perspective, guys. Is the WWE bankrupt? No, that's number 1. Is the WWE scrapped for cash? No, that's number 2. Do they have enough money to be able to pay everybody whatever they need to? Yes, that's 3. Does Vince give a damn about, some reason the autofocus is going in and out. Does Vince care about the people there? No, that's 4. Vince only cares about a select few that have not pissed him off, that is willing to do whatever they want, whatever he wants. Ergo, after 10 years, Cesaro is finally being pushed, not because of his ability, because he can do incredible characters. It's because he decided to stay when his contract was up. And he was finally given the opportunity to go after the damn title. And if I remember correctly, the only time he ever came close to getting near a real title was him challenging John Cena. And I believe that was for the US title. That was the closest he had to go up against a main eventer for a title. Not the main titles, just, I believe, the US, not the IC. This is what you get for your loyalty. Now, after 10 years, finally Vince says, okay, the guy stayed, let's give him this. Or he liked the UFO and him spinning around. If you saw my WrestleMania review, you saw that him doing that spin around, that airplane, which is called the UFO by Cesaro, it was pretty damn hot. It was fire, boy. Him putting his hands on his hips, spinning and Seth Rollins on his back. Anybody would say, damn, that's so cool. That's the truth. I think maybe that's the main reason next to him willing to stay in the company for 10 years. I think it was just him doing the airplane spin with his hands on his hips like that must have been enough. But anyway, it's not about Cesaro getting released. This is about the 4 people I'm about to talk about. Kalisto, Samoa Joe, Mickie James, which pisses me off bad. And finally, the one that you guys are waiting for, which I think this video is going to be longer than 30 minutes, will be about Billie Kay and my thoughts about the Iconics being removed from WWE. But let's get to Kalisto. Kalisto, a guy that makes you think another lost opportunity. They had Sin Cara, who is Hunico. Also, Sin Cara, who is, I forgot his name. It's been so long since I haven't even remembered Sin Cara's original name. The other Sin Cara, the one who took over for Hunico. I don't even remember his name. But when it came down to it, another Mexican or Spanish wrestler who literally was never used properly, that they had heat coming in. I mean, they were popping. They either had heat when they came in or they were really popping. And the WWE has done nothing with them. 0. The only one they ever did properly in over 15 years was Eddie. Eddie. He was the only person they did properly. And I'm not even taking anything away from Rey Mysterio, because it was involving Eddie Guerrero. So when you see it, they've only booked Eddie Guerrero properly. Everyone else who's been a Mexican wrestler or a Spanish or Puerto Rican wrestler, they've never booked him right. They've never booked. Understand how many people they have gone through in this situation. They've gone through now Kalisto. They've gone through both Sin Caras. they went for Alberto Del Rio. Now understand, Alberto Del Rio got into the main event, but he was never 100% feeling like a main eventer, even though he was thought of as one. And yes, the guy was a dick. He still is. Then you have look, when it comes to the Colon brothers, all of them, it just sucked. When it came to Carlito, Primo, Epico, they never got anywhere. And they were a good tag team. Primo and Epico were a great tag team. When it came to, well, one of them is a cousin, the other one's a brother. When it came down to it, you could see Carlito was something. Is he in the company right now? I don't even know. The guy got himself jacked. He's like, the bastard looked like he was carved out of freaking granite. Does that mean they're going to do anything with him? No. Every wrestler of Mexican or Puerto Rican or Dominican descent has never been treated right. Not once have they been treated right. No Way Jose. What about him? Every one of them is treated bad. And when you see Kalisto, a guy who's one of the few of them that really stands out through high flying and lucha libre wrestling. You got a lot of guys in there who do lucha libre. A lot of them. Kalisto was one of the few who is a little bit better than all of them. All of them. The only person that came close to Kalisto, but it was in his name and his work well before that, was Rey Mysterio. Have they ever gone in the ring together on SmackDown, Raw, or pay-per-view? No. No. You had Andrade Cien Momos going against a Rey Mysterio. Great, but it never got him anywhere. And that's Andrade Cien Momos. Right now, he finally got sick and demanded to be released, and it's his own woman. I'm sure that Charlotte had to demand him to be released. She had to fight to get him released. Now, I want to say this. When it comes to Charlotte, I don't agree that she's the best that ever existed. She's not. She's still sloppy in the ring and only can work with certain people. She is not Ric Flair. That guy could work with literally anybody. The worst jobber to the best worker, and he can make them look good along with himself. That ain't a lie. The man was that talented. His daughter doesn't even come close. She is well overhyped, well oversaturated, and let's be honest, she politics in the back. Like I said, she can be the sweetest person outside of wrestling, but when she's in the business, in that position, she's going to do whatever she can to get ahead, and she will fuck anybody over and only help those she loves, including her man that she's supposedly engaged to, which I believe she is, and she got his ass out. Now, I give her respect for that. She's earned my respect. The man she loved could have just sat there in catering doing nothing, and she just could have kept her protected position, but she chose to fight for him to be released. So I give her the respect. She's got it. But she ain't the best. This is what you get in wrestling right now in WWE. The people who want to go to the main roster, who want to go to NXT, they don't 100% understand. Unless they're near the end of their run as a wrestler, that they spent the last 15, 20, or maybe 25 years wrestling, they want to go to WWE to get a good paycheck for their family and retire knowing that they're in a company that they got good pay, that they got good understanding they may be able to get something they want. They could get they used to get some good merch, at least until maybe when they tour and everybody can get the big money back, because they ain't getting big money now. But before, that's what they could see. But when it comes down to it, Vince doesn't get it. Kevin Dunn, who is under him, doesn't get it. Bruce Pritchard under him doesn't get how these wrestlers are anymore. They don't. Now, sometimes they do. They do. But in many cases now, they don't get them. So when it comes to Kalisto, they could have done something better with him, particularly with Rey Mysterio. They could have had him in a damn tag team. Kalisto and Rey Mysterio, two of the best. There is the older version and the younger version. A Rey Mysterio and one that looks like Rey Mysterio. Where instead of Rey caring about his son, Dominic, who should be in NXT right now, by himself, learning his craft and working, or at least, if Rey was going to work with Kalisto after a while, he would go down to NXT and work with his son as his manager. No, he's on the main roster where he's doing nothing. He's not that good. And that's Ray's son, Dominic. He's not meant to be on the main roster. He's meant to be in NXT, but Ray wants him there. That's the deal. Ray probably re-signed to make sure his son stays on the main roster, get good money, get the experience he believes he needs when he really needs to go to NXT. Learn to grow. On the main roster, he's not learning as much as I believe he is. But this is where you could have had with Kalisto. Now, where do you think Kalisto is going? It's either going to be Impact or it's going to be AEW. My guess is Impact will be the best option because they need more people. They need more people in Impact right now. So Kalisto will probably be one of the best people. And I'm going to hear so many people that say, oh, another WWE guy. Listen to me. I respect you 100%. But who gives a damn anymore? We know these people have barely been used, not because they have no talent. Some of them, yes. And I will be getting to Billy Kay at the end of this review. Well, this Gump report, I'm saying review. You see, I'm still learning about this even after now 13 episodes. But you get my point. There are some who suck, but Kalisto is not one of them. Now, Samoa Joe. Boy, I don't understand. Samoa Joe, the man that literally is will be a legend in his future. If no one ever puts him into a Hall of Fame, if Impact doesn't put him in the Hall of Fame, somebody should. Samoa Joe has earned his right with all the hard work he's done in ROH, in Impact, in NXT, and then on the main roster for what a bit they gave him, next to him being injured. Samoa Joe has always been one of my favorite wrestlers. Back in the late 2000s, mid to late 2000s, I'm going to tell you a little story. When I never seen Impact until 2010. I didn't have cable. I know it sounds crazy, but a guy who literally owed a ton of money from child support and paying back his tap and Pell and having not a very profitable job. I didn't have any cable for many years. Guess what? I had antenna. A crappy antenna on the building I'm living in that barely got me anything. I used to record my Saturday morning cartoons so I could see something on a Saturday so I can enjoy myself. At least until I got enough money to get cable. But I never had them. I never could watch wrestling in normal. I had to buy DVDs or videotapes. One of them that I still have today, that I still love, is Genesis 2005. Admittedly, I haven't seen it in a while, Genesis. But when I did see it, and I saw it a lot, I loved it. Samoa Joe was there with Kurt Angle. Samoa Joe is a staple in any wrestling promotion. And look what happened. He went to NXT. He did a good job. Then he went to the main... Once he met Roman Reigns, he went from here, where he was at NXT. Done. Then he had AJ. Went up. Then he got hurt. Then he got hurt again. Then he got a concussion. And he got hurt his hand, but then he got a concussion also. And what happened with him? He couldn't wrestle. They wouldn't clear him. But guess what they let him do? They let him go on commentary. Commentary for Raw. And guess what? People really, really resonated with Samoa Joe. The guy is better than Corey Graves. Corey Graves is not a bad commentator at all. I'm not saying he's bad. He's actually good. But Samoa Joe feels more legitimate. He's been in the business longer. He knows how the thing works in and out. He's like a modern day Taz on commentary. He knows how to make it mean something. And what did they do? They fired his ass. They released him. Not fired. They released his ass. Now, supposedly, if you look at the connection below for his NoDQ.com connection, he wanted to go back into wrestling again. He wanted to come back into the main roster. And they refused to let him do it because of the concussion. And now with the liabilities for the WWE being a corporation, they don't want to be liable and have someone yet suing them. Because remember, the one that shall not be named had multiple concussions where he was literally the mind of a 90-year-old in the 40-year-old body. It's one of the reasons why he went insane. So clearly, They're terrified. If anyone's got concussions, they're not going to let them wrestle. So for him being released, if he was still wrestling, I could understand if he has injury problems and they got nothing for him to do. But he was on Raw as a commentator that people liked. And now they replaced him with a guy who's from, Fox Sports. I believe he's from ESPN. Sorry, ESPN. I don't remember his name. And he is been play-by-play for baseball. You took a guy who, if he could never go back in the ring, was literally liked by the fans. How he did his commentating. They literally liked him. And instead of transferring him to SmackDown or back to NXT because you still wanted to get this guy from ESPN who did baseball, you couldn't put him into SmackDown? Or better yet, put him back in NXT. You just move people around in NXT. Why couldn't you send him back there? Why? Why couldn't you do it? You decided to get rid of him. The best person you could see as a commentator. Not even talking about wrestling. If he could go back in the ring, he's that damn good. You literally let him go. You are beyond stupid. I don't care if it's Vince, Kevin Dunn, or Bruce Pritchard, or better yet, John Laurinaitis. Hello there. I am People Power. I'm sorry you're going to have to be fired. Well, not fired. You'll have to be future endeavored. But take care. We'll always think of you, Joe. Fuck you. Fuck you. The guy had it, and you got rid of him. Now, the next person. Which, out of everybody here, and understand, I'm angry about Samoa Joe. The guy was something. This person enrages me. Mickie James. She came back nearly 4 years ago, I believe. I can't remember when she came back. 3 or 4 years ago, easily. She went to NXT, and in my humble opinion, had the best match that was outside of a pay-per-view, other than Sasha and Bayley. She had a match with Asuka. That was the best match NXT had on regular, of course, their television, on the WWE Network, they ever produced. You had two women and an Asuka. Kata-chan. She, at that time, was red hot. She'd already been champion for a year and a half, 9 months to a year, easily. She was that well over as champion of NXT. And she went up against, I think it was a year, but she went up against the Mickie James, a freaking legend. And they had tore the damn place down. That's how good they were. And then she was brought up to the main roster. Worked with Bayley, which was fine. Fine. She worked with Bayley. Dealt with Bayley. Worked with Alexa Bliss. Helped Alexa Bliss. And instead of her turning her face and then putting her in a situation where she either heel or face and let her have a run to try and put women over. As a legitimate champion, hell, she could have gone up against, understand, Mickie James. If she was allowed to be the Mickie James that we know from Impact Wrestling, hot, rough, and tough, she could have been at the top and put over a lot of women, including Natalya. Natalya, who's been in the business since 2009 or 10. She could have put her over and helped her in a way to let her become champion that would make her really become more established. And she had to drag her feet for years next to doing those stupid skits where she's farting all the time. And that's Natalya. Mickie James could have elevated everyone as a freaking champion, and they did one thing with her. See my eye? Do you see my fucking eye? Do you see this? You see this? Nothing! It makes me laugh. How stupid they were to do nothing with Mickie James for years, leaving her in the back and either working either main event or superstars. A woman who's a bona fide Hall of Famer in time, whose husband right now has been over 2 years champion in NWA. Now, where do I think she's going? It's very easy for me personally. I truly believe this is very easy. Easy. And if she doesn't do it, I'll be quite surprised. Unless her husband tells her, go there, we want more money for ourselves. She's going to NWA. Mickie James is going to NWA. If anyone thinks she's going to AEW, you got another thing coming. Her husband is the current champion of NWA. Selena Deeps is the current champion. I could see Selena Deeps, if she doesn't get defeated by Thunder Rosa or Terrence Terrell, she could become the NWA Women's Champion. And if they still have some type of arrangement with AEW, you could see Mickie James on AEW as the NWA Champion. And I wouldn't mind seeing her be with her husband in NWA and then periodically go over to AEW and show how damn good she is because she's still young enough to go in the damn ring, unlike what they treat her in the WWE, which was stupid. Stupid! It is ridiculous. This woman has skill. She's beautiful. She's half Powhatan, guys. She's half Native American. As far as I know, I have some Native American blood, not just Taino blood, which is Puerto Rican blood, maybe. Maybe Puerto Rican Indian. But I'm supposed to have Cherokee blood. And knowing not only Nia Rose, who is on AEW, who is black and Indian, I've seen Mickie James in the damn ring for years. And I've always loved this woman, that she never hides how she feels about her Indian heritage. Just like Nia Rose dresses herself in some Indian garb, Mickie James has done too, and it made me feel good being a mixed American, Puerto Rican, black that's mixed with possibly Native American and Chinese. I am proud of this woman for working hard and still showing her Native American heritage. And she's been treated like shit, and she won't say it. She's too classy. That's my feeling about that. And now, baby. I had one, I don't think he's a subscriber, but I had one guy on my episode 11 of Gump Report being so upset about me saying that he completely and totally disagrees with what I thought about Billie Kay, because it's time for Billie Kay. He thought that it was unfair what I said, that she needs to go in the back and be a secretary. He really didn't listen to anything I said on my video. If anyone's seen my video of the Billie Kay, yes, I did call her a secretary, because if she doesn't realize what she's doing, she should go and become a secretary in the back, because she has not been right. I've always said when it came to the Iconics of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay, they are both managers that should periodically wrestle. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can get over more as a manager. Look at Sensational Sherry. Look at Elizabeth. Elizabeth never went in the ring, but she was the most loved woman on that damn roster and of all time before her death. She is that loved. Sensational Sherry. I thought that woman was a D cup, and she's barely even probably even a C cup. I was in love with that woman because her titties looked so good in a tight. But also, I loved her character, how she worked so well with Macho Man Randy Savage, along with HBK. Even Kurt Angle, as she was winding down her time in the ring as a manager, she put people over and still got herself over. Even the skills that she hadn't used much in the ring, she was still good enough of a wrestler that when it's time to go in the ring, she could still do it. And then you look at the Iconics. Peyton Royce, I believe, is going to be fine. She could go to AEW or work in the back at AEW until there was availability for her to work. She can be with her husband or work at his dojo, for that matter. And she could easily get over. She could easily go in AEW, eventually get in there. Hell, she could join the Pinnacle eventually. Even if she doesn't wrestle, she could be his manager. Which I'm saying, you could get over as a manager even if you're not great as a wrestler. Can't you see? A wrestler being a manager could just be as loved as a wrestler in the damn ring. Then you see a Billie Kay. And I've said it. I've seen her work years before. When she was in NXT, Her work was, here's Peyton Royce, here's Billie Kay. She was always slightly a little less than Peyton Royce. There's nothing wrong with that. You're partners with a friend that you've known back in your own country since you were in high school. You went to places to train and you worked your ass off to come to America, go to whatever other promotion you could until you got into WWE, got to NXT, made your characters, and you weren't bad. She wasn't the greatest wrestler, but she didn't have to be. She could be a good wrestler that if she has enough of a personality, she could also be a manager and really get herself over as a character. She could be remembered as one of the best female managers that slash wrestle periodically in history. And she was here by the time she left NXT and went to the main roster. Then she went down. And by the time she won the title, before they broke up the Iconics, she was lesser. Then the Iconics broke up. And what happened? She went from here. That was when she won those titles. And she wasn't that great. She's there. Her character was barely anything. Yes, I said in my video, and I still stand by it, there were certain parts of what she did would easily be considered funny to most people. I thought it was interesting. I didn't say she was funny beyond recognition, but it was interesting with Billie Kay. She was funny in certain points that I'm sure somebody would enjoy it. The Slug Daddy likes Billie Kay. And what's wrong with him? Nothing. JD can't stand her. He despises her. And when it comes to Alex, he didn't really care that much about her either. But you got the Slug Daddy here. You got just Alex in the middle. And then you got JD, who hates her fucking guts, think that she shouldn't wrestle, period. When it comes down to Billie Kay, at this moment in time, because if you see the connection below, because I'm leaving the NoDQ.com connection, just like Samoa Joe, when it comes to Billie Kay, Kevin Dunn didn't get her. But she was considered very well loved on the roster. And I'm sure whatever person that sees this video, because I will probably leave Billie Kay's name in it, that she's gone. Good. I may even state that in there. When it comes to all the people and Billie Kay being gone is good. Maybe, I don't know. He or she is going to get mad at me. And personally, if you can't realize there was something wrong with Billie Kay, and because everyone loved Billie Kay, everyone loved her, and no one's saying that you can't love Jennifer, the real woman behind Billie Kay. I said it myself. I've heard she's exceptionally nice. I would love to be her friend. But I wouldn't lie to her because her ring work sucks. Her character was barely interesting, even though some people would like it. The Slug Daddy, who's been on here for 11 years, would have liked it, and he did. But even he could understand why she's not there. When it comes down to it, Billie Kay had issues. Either she wasn't happy on the roster, or she believed that she was so good nothing was going wrong. Something had to change. And guess what happened? What did I say? There's something wrong with her. She needed to go to the Performance Center and work her way out of this problem, either to work on her ring work, which she desperately needed, or work on her character, which she really needed more. Or take a break from wrestling, ask for some time off, go to Peyton, her best friend, suppose she still loves, and say, I need to wrestle better. I need help. Let me talk to Sean, your husband. Let me have some help from him. Because I need your help too. And she could have gone to her. Either she has personal problems, she could have had a friend help her. Or if it's ring problems, she could have had a husband who's a trainer with Tyler Breeze, work out the problems. And what happened? She's been let go because no one knew what to do with her. And you know what? I agree with it. This is one of the few times when it comes to WWE's decisions I agree with. Because she needed more, and either she didn't want to do more, or she couldn't see she needed to do more. That's what it comes down to. For me personally, what I think is going to happen with her and the others, Kalisto, the best option will be to go to Impact Wrestling. Because there's way too many Mexican wrestlers on AEW. Their roster is badly overloaded right now. Honestly, there's so many not so many lucha. I'm about to say female wrestlers. They got a lot of women there, but not the ones that's needed. But a whole bunch of lucha libre wrestlers there now. How many you got? You got Pentagon Jr., which is Penta San Miedo, I believe his name. Ray Phoenix. You got already. I can't even count them all. There's so many. Those are the two main best ones they got. And then you got at least another 24 that is working on Dark, and a few that are working on Dynamite. They don't have a second brand yet. They have Elevation on YouTube, but it's not the same as the second brand on TNT. They need another brand, and they're not ready yet, if they're ever going to be. So when it comes down to it, there's no room for him. He goes to Impact Wrestling. It's the best place to go. They really need more wrestlers. They need more. Flat out. That's if, and I say this clear to anyone who's so happy that I'm saying this, that's if the people running it can write interesting stories, because they have not been doing well. Ergo, what's going on with AEW and not saying, hey, Tony, where's the advertisement for us? You're fucking us. Help us. We need more. They could say something they haven't. Now, Samoa Joe, where should he go? The best option would be to go to AEW. If he can't wrestle, he could be a manager if he's not ready yet because of the concussion problems. But to be honest, he is going to be perfect in AEW. He's got the name. Samoa Joe is synonymous of being one of the innovators, not just from Impact Wrestling, but he is a real cruiserweight. He is, for his size. He epitomizes what a cruiserweight can truly be. That's the truth. He's an X Division guy that is truly a cruiserweight for his size. He, if he can go back in the ring, will truly set something going. That's the truth because of his name. Mickie James. There's no way I would see her going to AEW. If she goes to AEW because Nick Aldis told her to go there. Because I believe she's going to NWA. She is going to NWA. I'll be shocked if she doesn't appear there. I'll be shocked. That's the best place to go because they need more people. NWA is too small. They need more legitimate wrestlers. And having Nick Aldis there, her husband, who's been champion for more than almost 2.5 years, would make perfect sense for her to go there and start from scratch. Yes, Camille could stay in the position of Strictly Business for a little while until the time when she transitions out and Mickie James becomes a member of Strictly Business, because Camille will be ready to handle herself on her own. And Mickie James could be part of Strictly Business because no one needs to lie. This is his wife and there's nothing wrong with it. And she will easily make the women's division mean something. Terrence Terrell will work with her because she has. Thunder Rosa could work with her and she hasn't yet. You could have so many women do something there. And finally, here's the interesting thing. Billie Kay. Where she could go? Nowhere. She needs time. Guys, I'm not telling you that she shouldn't wrestle anymore. And I'm not telling you she shouldn't be a manager. But there's a major problem with Billie Kay Jennifer. Either she doesn't see that her ring work and her character development has been lackluster because she thinks she's too damn hot and nobody's better than her. Or she has some type of personal problem that needs to be addressed. Possibly drinking or drugging, or just she's flat out depressed like a Sasha Banks. Something needs to be corrected. I say she takes over a year off. I say she doesn't do anything with wrestling for a whole year or more to get herself straight. And then when she straightens her ass out, get some training, and then go to AEW. Not back to WWE and NXT. Because if she does that, she's going to end up in the same situation before. AEW, that would be the good thing. Hell, MLW, yes, that camera work sucks. Maybe there. NWA, at least as a trial, think of it. For her, she needs to take some time off, get herself right. Then when she's right, get back into the ring, get trained. Sean Spears will probably be still available, along with Tyler Breeze. Have some help with her. Work on the character. Work on the ring work. Then she tries to go into a company. NWA, a temporary run in NWA. A temporary run in MLW. Run in Impact. I know that's not something everyone want to hear, but I'm talking about a woman taking time off to straighten out her problems. Then getting retrained again, going to other promotion briefly, and then trying to go to a more major promotion like Impact to see if she is a good fit there, or that if she's done well enough, maybe AEW will call for her. Maybe she'll go to them and say, hey, give me a shot. This is about doing it right. And I know my subscribers will say, are you stupid? Why are you saying this and trying to be nice? Why are you backpedaling? I'm not backpedaling any damn thing. I am saying the truth. This woman has an issue. Either it's mental, because she doesn't want to hear that she has major problems, that her ring work is shit and the character work sucks, or she has depression. As someone with depression and anxiety, you never know. They can hide it. Take a year off. Get her mind right. Go back into the ring by training, and then go to minor promotions to get a little bit of credibility back until she tries to go to a major promotion. Now, mind you, if she's off, like she is now, because I believe she has a 90-day non-compete, and she doesn't take any time to really think about what's going on, and she just goes as she is now, when she left WWE and she's still the same, anyone who's a Billy Kay, I say this again, anyone who is a Billy Kay fan, you should kick yourself in the butt for actually believing in her, because you could see that she has an issue. The very one that spoke to me before said there must be something wrong because her ring work has dropped a lot. There's something wrong. But if you notice that still after 3 months, and instead of staying out to get that straightened out, she's still the same. She goes to another promotion like Impact or AEW, and her ring work is the same. Her attitude is exactly like WWE. And no matter how sweet, nice, and loving she is in the back or being on Twitter, you should kick yourself in the ass, because you're backing someone that clearly doesn't want to hear there's something wrong or doesn't want to see there's something wrong. You need to tell her. And if you don't tell her, kick yourself in the ass. I'm just saying. And that's not to be insulting to a fan of Billy Kay. I'm just telling you, if you love her, tell her she has an issue and don't go back into the ring until you solve it. If you hear me and then you still say that I'm 100% wrong in the comments, I'm going to poon your ass and tell you, are you silly? Did you hear what I said at the end again? But that's just my point of view. Have a good day. Have a good night. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. Peace.